Good morning and welcome. Pick the Radio News Hour on this Monday. Joe Jake went solo today as Jason is dealing with some banking issues. Yes, debanking's a real thing. That's why we keep telling everybody you better know how to operate in this crypto space. Our toll-free number, 800-951-0592. The website at allamericangold.com. And this week, what are the big things this week? Well, we have Russia and Ukraine, Zelensky, President Zelensky, I believe, is he in town? I'm not sure. I know that there is a meeting with Zelensky. I just don't know where it is. Is it on the phone? Is he here? I'm not really sure. I don't know that it matters one way or the other. But, I mean, it would be nice, right, if that war would be over. Save us some money. The numbers are out. As usual, we spend more than anybody when it comes to that war, and, well, just probably about anything else for that matter. But the bigger news economically, Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Yep, the bankers and all the rich people head to Jackson Hole. And again, we were set for rate cuts. We had a CPI number that at least the headline number was good. Right? Now, the other numbers weren't, but the headline was good. Then we got producer prices. Insanely high inflation. Right? To the point, I hope it gets adjusted down, but it's nuts how 0.9% month over month. And then on top of that, all the inside numbers were just as bad. Then we got retail sales. It was good, right? Up 0.5. I mean, it's a good number. It's going to be interesting to hear what Jay Powell is going to say. This could be a rough week on the markets if Jay Powell is defiant and saying that, don't expect the rate cuts in September. I think we get Fed minutes this week, so it'll be interesting, with the two dissenters. I believe we should be up to 3 with the new appointment, but again, we will have to wait and see. The data from Thursday and Friday just wasn't what they were hoping. Even jobless claims, 225, I mean, that was a nothing number as well. So that's going to drive the markets this week, right? Is Jay Powell and Jackson Hole going to cast doubt on rate cuts in September, or is he going to say, hey, you know what? We're good. We're going to do it whether we should or not. And just remember, it's not like they've got a good choice. This is their fault. And here's the thing that really bothers me. Because the media wants to portray the central bank as some kind of savior. Look at all the great work that they've done. When the central bank was first formed, by the way, just in case you were wondering, the men behind the central banks, J.P. Morgan's, the Rockefellers, you know who that, the Warburgs, very, very exclusive families. They were worried that they would be tried for treason if they were discovered. See, they met in Jekyll Island, Georgia. If you've never heard of the book, The Creature from Jekyll Island, you need to get it. You need to read it. Now, it's been up. G. Edward Griffin, he updates it. You know, if you can find the first version, be really cool, but it doesn't matter because all it does, the book just gets better as he keeps adding to it. But they met in secret and didn't want anyone to know what they were up to because they knew that they would get tried for treason. What? See, we didn't have a central bank. After Andrew Jackson eliminated it, the United States became this superpower. And it's so funny because they said, oh, gosh, gold just didn't work anymore. It was working just fine. But the two things that came with the central bank, one, we got the income tax. Think about this. No one paid income tax. Yeah, it's true. Didn't pay income tax in 1913. And oh yeah, these guys were supposed to create a stable dollar. That's what their mandate was. 800-951-0592. Joe Jaquin, Patriot Radio News Hour on this Monday. Let's take a look in at the markets right now. No one knows kind of what to do. Just waiting to hear what is going to come out of the meeting in Jackson Hole, Wyoming this week. The Dow is down 23, the S&P is down 5, the Nasdaq's down 31, so not a lot. But look at this. Let's look at this 10-year note. 4.34 and change, so not quite 4.35. Right, kind of right back up. Right, we had a few days where, okay, we're going to lower rates. It's all locked in. Got down to 420, and, well, then the rest of the data didn't cooperate. Gold is just sitting here, down 40 cents, 33.36. Silver, same. It's up 4 cents, but just kind of sitting here. 37.98 as they've got us all convinced that somehow this meeting is very important. These guys are, they're the stewards of the dollar. And somehow 12 years later now, look at where we are at. You think you go back to 1913. We became a superpower, right? Pretty evident by then that the United States was the country to be. We didn't really have debt. I mean, we had a small national debt, and I mean small. Micro, I mean, today would be a rounding error. I mean, I don't even know if it was $10 billion. I mean, it was tiny. Didn't have a national debt, didn't have a need for an income tax. Think about it. And it had been that way for like 100 years. It's crazy. But again, they wanted to be in power. They wanted fractional banking. They wanted to collect interest. That's what they wanted. And really, control everyone. And you think you control your life? You don't control your life. The banks do. They do. Why do you think that we talk about crypto so much now? We talk about you guys better hurry up and get your butts involved. I think you should take a shot with us with Texit, right? You know that. I signed up 5 9-packs already this morning. It's insane. Why? Why do we need crypto? Have you ever thought about that? Why? Well, when they created this bank illegally, and why do I say illegally? Well, they met with high-ranking officials in Congress. They had a plan. They had been planning, right? They were filling the House and the Senate with banking sympathizers. Right? How are they doing that? Well, it's kind of how they do it today, backing candidates, marrying them, marrying off daughters to other wealthy individuals, having them run to get into Congress so they could pass the Central Bank Act. And what's interesting about this is they learned their lesson. See, there was 2 other central banks in U.S. history. Most people don't know this is the 3rd iteration, by the way. This is how dumb we are. People think we had the central bank from the get-go. No. Not even close. Twice they got 20-year charters. And twice, after 20 years, Congress kicked them out because they realized, oh, wait a minute. These guys are thieves. Now, they like to use a different word, but I'm going to use the word that really is important, the truth. Think about 1913. Oh, wait, that would have been 1933. Well, you think we would have kept them around? But see, this time around, they didn't put that in there. There was no 20-year charter. They were smart, weren't they? And why did they think we needed a central bank? Does anyone know that answer? Do you know why? Well, they promised that, you know what? With a central bank, we can control the economy. Right? We can make sure the economy doesn't get too hot and that it doesn't get too cold. You know, we can end these crises. Right? We can end the ups and downs of the economy. Right? We can end the hard times. Yeah. There won't be any more crises. Of course, most of the crises that we got were caused by banks. Right? That was behaving badly, but neither here nor there. That was the premise. And they had a mandate. Okay. See, because they knew. That's how they got it through. See, they knew that devaluation was what they wanted. And what I mean by that is their plan was, well, anytime there was bad times, we'll just spend money. And seriously, this is what it was. But don't worry, we'll pay it back when times are better. That was their promise. Never happened. Right? Never happened. Of course, within 20 years, we had the worst crisis that America had ever known, the Great Depression. And what was the bank's answer? To take away the gold. Why? Why did they want to take away the gold? Well, here was the problem with the gold. See, the bankers said, gosh, if we could just spend a lot more money, get the economy going again. The problem is we got to wait to dig this stuff up out of the ground, right? Because for every $20 they wanted to issue, they needed a $20 gold piece to go along with it. It was just inconvenient. So they took us off the gold standard. Everyone knows that story. Shut the banks for a week. Thought these guys were supposed to prevent that stuff. Well, that was the plan. First, they had to get rid of the gold, right? Banned it for 40 years. A lot of people don't know that either. What do you mean you weren't allowed to go? You weren't allowed to own it. You know, I always bring up that movie Lethal Weapon. Mel Gibson, Danny Glover, right? Remember, they were the cops, and there were South Africans, and it was all about South African Krugerrands. You know why it was South African? The movie came out in 1983. The reason it was South Africa, because the United States didn't mint any gold at the time. There was no such thing as a gold eagle, right? I mean, gold had only been legal again for like 12 years. But yes, it was South African Kruger. It's kind of funny. Kind of funny. But they were supposed to have a stable dollar. Now, here's what's funny about stable. They never told us what that meant. See, us dumb people, we thought it meant, well, gosh, you know, because America didn't have inflation. They didn't. The only time they had inflation under gold was war. As soon as the war was over, the prices went right back down. And it was only certain things like steel and bullets and gunpowder, right? You know, stuff that cost more. And then maybe some food stuff. Well, gosh, there's war. They're not harvesting the wheat or whatever it may be. But the second it was over, the prices went right back down. You know, we always used to say about gold, right? We say it today. Why do you hold it? It protects what you've already earned. What cost $20 in 1913, you can still buy with a $20 gold piece today. The difference is a $20 gold piece today is $3,395. You know, it's not $20, but they were supposed to have stable pricing. Well, in the Fed's eyes, they did. See, they said, well, we do have stable prices. We stably devalue it every year. That's how the system works. That's literally how it works. Now, they knew this, but they said, don't worry. We'll pay you interest on your savings so we can be just like gold. So you don't need to have gold. Matter of fact, by 1933, they made sure you didn't have gold. But don't worry. We'll pay you interest on your savings. I remember Warren Buffett. God, especially when I got into gold, right? That's all. It doesn't pay interest. It doesn't pay interest, right? I hated it because it didn't pay interest. Nobody says that anymore. You want to know why? You know why. Because we went 15 years without paying any interest, right? The banks. Even though they were devaluing your money. Think how crappy that is. To make matters worse, they did a bunch of tricks. So think about this. We go through the Great Depression. We really never came out of it. I guess we could say, Thanks for World War II because it got us out of the Great Depression. Then, of course, we ended up with everybody had to use dollars. That was our reward for winning the war. And we essentially became the reserve currency. And, we behaved okay. And what I mean by that is, at the end of World War II, we had a now deficit approaching $300 billion. So we put them in charge and we had none. Right? Essentially. Now it was, like I said, I don't even know if it was $10 billion. And I'm too lazy to look it up right now. But, hey, we had two big, we took away the gold. We had two major world wars. And then things got weird. We'll be back after the break. 800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe Jacobin solo today as Jason has to deal with some banking issues, some debanking issues. Yeah, it's crazy. How does this stuff happen? What was this big crime? What did he do? Oh, wait. They didn't like that he was sending money to Kraken. Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's crazy. As they devalue the hell out of us. And then act like they're our friends. Act like they're saviors. We got to pretend this meeting is important. Listen, we should all be out there protesting to end the Fed. That's what we should be doing. So they have all these excuses why the debt rose. Most people don't realize that after World War II, we ran about as many debts as we did surpluses. So that they were kind of doing okay, right? Now, by 1971, the debt was now $400 billion. But what was so important about 1971? Well, after World War II, the United States owned 20,000 metric tons of gold. Now, you guys all know today they say we have 8,000. We don't know, but that's what they say. Well, what happened to the other 12,000 metric tons? It's pretty simple. The central banks were buying the hell out of it. Especially in the 60s. They started doing, a little bit in the 50s, but it really started gaining steam in the 60s. And then, of course, Richard Nixon closed the gold window. What did that mean? Well, see, foreign governments were still allowed to trade treasuries for gold. Why? Well, because the dollar was brand new and they may not want the dollar, blah, 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 blah. How did we get so much gold? Well, pretty simple. We set a $20 gold piece in 1933. As soon as they took it from all of us, they said it was now worth $35. So God, these countries loved it. Here, I got all kinds of $20 gold pieces. I got 10s, I got 5s, I got all kinds. Here you go. I mean, yesterday you're only going to give me $20 worth of stuff. Today you're going to give me $35. Great deal. Then they figured it out. Not so great. What is happening today? And I bring this up. What is happening today? Well, all the countries that wanted their gold back, France and Germany, Italy, right there, they're all broke like us. And all these new countries, they don't want it. They're buying more gold now than they were in the 60s, breaking records. In the 70s, that horrible inflation. Now, we've got inflation today, and I don't care. You say you don't. We do. Everybody knows it. But see, they did some more tricks. Do you know they've changed how they counted inflation? Yeah. See, they knew we were stupid. And they said, hey, guys, we're doing this all wrong. If the price of beef goes up, I'll buy chicken or pork or cat food. They didn't care. Let's find something that's less, and we'll just replace it. And they did. Yeah, Alan Greenspan did that. So when you think about inflation today, and I don't care, they say they want 2%. That actually equates to about 4% in real terms. But they say 2. Well, how do they get away with that? Well, because they know they rigged the numbers. And yet, we sit and do nothing. We just take it. And again, they're getting ready. And I don't know if Jay Powell's going to cut rates or not. I don't care. Why do I say I don't care? Because neither one is right. Raising them's not right. Leaving them the same's not right. Cutting them's not right. There isn't, what is it, you Star Trekkers, the Kobayashi Maru. I'm going everywhere today. Kobayashi Maru. This was a test that no matter what the captain of the ship did, everybody dies. Period. Everybody. And of course, what did James Kirk do? Well, he changed the test. Yes. Because he's like, no, we got to have a way. There's got to be a way that everybody doesn't die. No, everybody doesn't die when the dollar is destroyed. See, it's kind of weird. 90% of us die. Right? And 5%, they're okay, right? And then another 4.9%, they life's good, life's real good. And then that little 1/10 of a percent. Yeah. They've got the yachts the size of islands, right? They buy islands. They control everything. This is what they're giving us. This is why gold is so important today. Why is gold $3,340? Why is it not $20? Why is it not $35? Why is it not $42, which is the price they gave it when Nixon closed the gold window? Why isn't it any of those? Well, it's simple. Remember, gold keeps you whole. Think about what cost $3,340 today. Think how much gold's going to have to be 10 years from now when the debt is 70-something trillion, maybe 100 trillion. And why do we need crypto? It's starting to add up, isn't it? Yeah, maybe we do. We'll be back after the break. 800-951-0592. Joe Jaquin here on this Monday, kind of just taking like a deep dive into the history of the central bank. We should have never have had it. And now look at the mess that we're in. They lie. They cheat. They steal. Now we got to worry about some meeting in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, whether or not they're going to still pay interest or not. Doing something that they know is economically wrong and then trying to justify it. Listen, if you want to play that game, go ahead and play it. Good luck. We know what happens. Boom, bust. Boom, bust. Boom, bust. And every time the bust happens, more people never get off the bus train. And the biggest bust of them all is coming. Why? Because they always make it the bubble even bigger. And now it's at the Treasury market's doorstep. And this is why I've made a big change. We need to embrace crypto. We need to know how to use it, how to operate in it, and hopefully how to profit from it. Because they've already told us there's only going to be two winners. Crypto's going to win. That's what they say. Gold's going to win. Not much else. Not much else. I mean, the spy companies, Palantir, right? Companies that can track you and data centers and all that stuff. How much freedom are you going to be able to afford? We've been talking about Texas. One of the things that really attracted us to it, because we thought Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin's going to be, hey, we don't have to worry about Jackson Hole, Wyoming anymore. Right? We don't. We don't have to use these banks. Well, the banks own it. Like everything else. So this is unique in the crypto space. Not as far as technology goes. Yeah, it's a clone of Litecoin. What does that mean? It's faster and cheaper than Bitcoin. Is it new? No. But do you want something new? Or do you want something you know works? It's interesting. We know it works. But big money's not allowed in. What's the most you can invest in becoming a Texas miner? The most you can invest is $26,865. And I don't know how much longer that's going to last. Because the most you could invest before was $8,955. Remember, every share is $995. When the mine is finished being built up, by the way, big day today, the first of our mega mines is being delivered today in Victoria, Texas. Mega mines 2 and 3 will be on their way to Mansfield, Texas. Today, as about yesterday, see, Texas shows you everything if you're a miner. You know that we bought 45 more mining machines. We do that every week, by the way, but 45 is the new record for the week. We are going to add almost 10,000 miners in the month of August. Do you know that July was the biggest month ever? And it was like 3,800 miners added. Now we're talking 10,000. I was updated. I kept telling people the mine's going to be full by the end of next year. That timeline has shrunk dramatically. If you want to get in here, why do you want to do it? What's the advantage of doing it? What do I get? Well, I don't care if you buy 1 share, 9 shares, 27 shares. By the way, you buy 5, you get 1 free. You buy 9, you get 2 free. If you do the 27, well, you get 2 free 3 times. So 6 free. Guys, you get coins every single day for another 135 years. I will tell you right now, we are less than 10 days away, probably less. It could happen today, could happen tomorrow. And one of these, in the next, say, 7 days, we're going to have the next price move. This will be the end of what I call the small moves. What does that mean? Well, it's going to be 30, 40, 50 cents. Still a great move. But, especially if it, $2.10 and all of a sudden you're telling me it's going to be $3.40. Yeah, that's a good move. $3.50, great move. I mean, $2.30, $2.40, $2.50. That'd be a great move, percentage-wise. In the next 12 weeks, you're going to see prices north of $7 per coin. How do you get coins? You buy mining shares. How do you get more coins? You tell others. By the way, big meeting Wednesday, this Wednesday at 5:30. Please RSVP. It is getting very, very full. We'll talk about that when we return. 800-951-0592, $20 gold pieces, $33.95, $10 gold pieces, $1,700 as we wait on Jackson Hole. Then, of course, signing up for TechSit. Remember, you have now 13 days at the end of August. For those of you that signed up earlier this year, you have until the end of the month. If you upgrade to the 9-pack, you get those 2 other pay centers. At least for right now, you can now turn those pay centers on by buying up to 9 shares in each of the 2 other pay centers. Now, are you allowed more than 3 pay centers? No. Used to be, up until a few weeks ago, the only way you could turn the pay centers on was by getting people underneath you. For this time being, I don't know how long, you can now buy them on, and so many of you have. And to give you an idea, I told you the average so far since inception of TechSit coin, when it first went live on the exchange back in April of 24 at 2 cents. Each share, each $995 has averaged about $4.50 a day. If you averaged $4.50 a day, and you had what I'll say is the 27-pack, you get almost $176 a day worth of coins. A day. That'd be $135,000 a year. And the following year, and the year after that, the year after that, and so on and so forth. For 27 grand, yeah, I'd do that. To get to the 9-pack, the 9-pack right now. If you bought a 9-pack, you're going to get just under $50 a day. Gosh, that'd be $18,000 a year if you do nothing. Wait, but what about next year? I get another $18,000, another $18,000. What? Yeah. This is the type of return you have the potential to, really, got the potential to make more of it. You recommend anybody, you get the credit. What does getting credit do? It allows you to get more hash. Pretty simple. Yeah, more power. Which means what? More coins. Is there a risk? Yep, there is. Boy, wait till this mine comes. You guys have no idea. we are making a huge, huge step forward. We have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of L9s getting ready to go online. We plan on being the largest independent mine in the world when this is done. Wednesday, 5:30, 7th Avenue in Deer Valley, the Deer Valley Air Park, Barrio Brewing. We are going to show you how you sell your Texas coin and get your money back. Or even make money. Yeah. Please RSVP so we know what to expect at 800-951-0592.